Hello Cloud Gurus, and congratulations for making it this far into the course. This is the very last section of the course, and we're just going to look at the 5 different white papers that you're told that you should read as a part of the exam blueprint. Rather than having you read all 5, I'm just going to summarize them. However, there is the one white paper which is on security. I really do recommend you read that. That's the next lecture. But in this lecture we're going to look at the overview of AWS white paper. We really covered a lot of this in the 10,000 foot overview, but let's just go through it anyway. One of the first things they talk about is what is cloud computing, and they define it as cloud computing is the on-demand delivery of IT resources and applications via the internet with pay-as-you-go pricing. Cloud computing provides a simple way to access servers, storage, databases, and a broad set of application services over the internet. Cloud computing providers such as AWS own and maintain the network-connected hardware required for these application services, while you provision and use what you need using a web application. So that's the definition of cloud computing. The white paper, they then go on and describe the 6 advantages of cloud. So you trade capital expense for variable expense. You benefit from massive economies of scale. Don't forget, I think Amazon invests $1 billion a year into their AWS platform, so they can get servers at a much cheaper rate than if you were to go to HP yourself and buy them. They actually build their own servers, from what I understand. So you benefit from massive economies of scale by consuming cloud. You can stop guessing about capacity. You can increase your speed and agility. You can stop spending money running and maintaining data centers, and then you can go global in minutes. So if you're launching a new product or a new site in Japan, you can spin up a entire infrastructure in the Japan region. So let's talk about their global infrastructure. Again, we covered a lot of this, but at the time of producing this video, there is 11 different regions. Each region consists of multiple availability zones. So there's 5 inside the US East, 3 inside US West, etc., etc. At the time of recording, there is only 1 availability zone within China, but most regions will have 3 availability zones. Talk a little bit about security. Amazon have state-of-the-art electronic surveillance and multi-factor access control systems within their data centers. It's staffed 24/7 by specially trained security guards, and access is authorized on a least privileged basis. So that basically means that maybe you're an accountant for Amazon, you wouldn't have access to the data centers full stop because you don't need to go in there. Or perhaps you're a data center tech, but you only work in a particular data hall, so you would only get access to that hall. You wouldn't have access to the entire data center. I don't think that question's ever come up in the exam, but it's just something to note from a security aspect. I will talk a little bit about compliance in this section. So there's a whole bunch of different regulations that they're compliant to, whether it's the important ones to really remember are PCI DSS level 1, so you can run PCI compliant websites, so it means you can take credit card payments on the Amazon platform. PCI compliance, though, is a combination of it's a provider's responsibility as well as a customer's responsibility, and there's lots of sort of different business processes you need to do in order to become PCI compliant. So don't get the idea that you can just deploy a website on AWS and start taking credit card details. There's a lot more to it than that. You have to actually go in and get a QSA or an auditor to come in and audit your site and audit your infrastructure, and then give you whether or not you're a certificate saying whether you're PCI compliant. So please don't go out there and just set up a website on AWS and think that it's fine to take credit card details. Do engage with a QSA on that. The other important thing to remember is ISO 27001 and then SOC 1, 2, and 3 compliant. Also ISO 9001. There's also several industry specific standards that they're compliant to. So you've got HIPAA, you've got the Cloud Security Alliance, and you've got the Motion Picture Association of America. So the AWS platform is similar to our, it's basically divided into these different sections, which is what we covered in the 10,000 foot overview. So you've got your global infrastructure, you've got your networking, you've got compute, storage, databases, you've got your analytics, you've got your application services, and then you've got deployment and management. And so that really covers off the first white paper. It is very high level. By now you would all know this back to front. The next white paper is the only white paper that I recommend that you read, but I will do a summary of it. But do read, because it's worth 20% of the exam. It's 70 pages. I'll cover most of it in the lecture, but it is really worth reading yourself just so you reinforce that knowledge. So if you've got the time, please move on to the next lecture. Thank you.